Him, along with Alan Jackman and the late, great John Spinks, formed their group Sirius B in the 70s, got back together later on, and were now known as the Baseball Boys. Columbia Records signed them in 84, changed their name, and gave us the hits Say It Isn't So, All the Love, and their mega hit Your Love. So awesome to be talking to the gold and triple platinum multi-million viewed YouTube 80 sensation live from London, Tony Lewis of the Outfield. Well, hello, Tony.
Thank you. Well, what an introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's very, very cool to be talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's thanks for inviting me along.
Absolutely. Now, jumping right in, Tony, the Outfield's music, it's been said to have like a Beatlesque sound to it. And you did start off as a young Beatles fan. And it's so funny that so many of the artists that I do talk to were influenced by the Beatles. But what was it about them that did it for you?
I don't know. I think their music just was quite spiritual because they were very, very talented. But they just, I don't know, they had a message in their sort of songs, you know, like, I remember the first time I heard, it was Love Me Do and Penny Lane. Penny Lane was the first song I heard on the radio when I was 9 years old, and I don't know, the song just made you feel sort of safe. Although it was a song about Penny Lane, it just sounded like it meant more than just a song. They were just magical musicians, you know.
But I also read that you loved radio, and that was a huge part of your growing up. Now, when you would listen to the radio, did it ever occur to you that one day your voice would be coming out of those speakers? No, I never did. Never sort of occurred to me at all. No, it's just we owe all our success to radio. So thank you very much for when I got a chance for an interview, I love taking the opportunity. A lot of people don't understand why a lot of people don't want to do radio interviews, you know, when it's, you know, you're the people that, you know, made the music, you know, famous for the band, so. And I thank you for that because, yes, radio is totally important. But when you were sitting there, though, honestly, the day that you did hear your voice coming out of a radio, what was it like for you?
Well, I remember being in a laundrette and I was falling asleep, and I think I've cleaned my clothes about once or twice in my whole life, but it was in a laundrette I was on tour, and I fell asleep with the radio in my ears, and I was listening to Cyndi Lauper, True Colours, and it said "beautiful like a rainbow," and I was just nodding off, and I was woken up by my own voice. You're on a vacation. What the hell is that?
Really?
My own voice. Yeah, that was very bizarre.
So you had no idea?
Woken up by my own voice. No, I thought, what the hell's that?
Not bad to be falling asleep to you. I mean...
Waking up to me. Falling asleep to Cyndi Lauper. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Now, Tony, you and John Spinks and Alan Jackman, you had the group Sirius B. That was in the late 70s. Now, were you in any other bands before that?
Well, me and Alan were in cover bands. We formed our first sort of school band together. And I've known John for about the same sort of period of time, but I was doing I was in like cover bands and doing pubs and things like that with Alan, and after Sirius B, because of the punk thing exploded, we sort of decided not to do it anymore, you know, because it was almost like sort of prog rock then, and no one wanted to see progressive rock then. It was punk music then. Alan was doing some demos with John locally, and I asked if I would like to play bass and maybe do some singing, and he'd come and see me at a local pub, and I was doing Message in a Bottle and Police songs, and he said,
"Yeah,
well, you sing really high. I thought anyone could sing police songs, you know, but it's just high." And he started writing songs that could, you know, for my key, and then within a sort of few weeks we had a band sound together, and then we got hooked up with American management. And then, after about 6 months, we got signed to CBS. We did tour in England, all over England, for about 2 years. So it wasn't overnight.
Right, because it kind of seems like it was. I mean, you know, you go through your history, and it's like, oh, you just exploded. You came on the scene in the early 80s, and then boom, you know, you got signed. But it really wasn't that easy for you guys.
Because the first US tour, we did it in a 15-seater minibus. And Say It Isn't So was the first single, and it did well for us nationally, but not like throughout the whole country. And we went home at 1985 for Christmas, and then Your Love was put on the radio after Christmas. And then through the spring, it just sort of took a life of its own, and the rest is history.
Now, you were in East London, and John once said, very early interview, that he was in a gang. Now, I look back at you guys, and I'm not really seeing gang with the three of you, because you look like you were just wholesome guys having a good time jamming together. Tony, were you in a gang too?
Well, not really. I mean, we had gangs when we was very little as kids, on streets and stuff, who could throw the stones further and who could fight the best, that was that sort of thing. That was that sort of culture from the East End, but not we weren't like villains, not like the Cray twins.
So you weren't like, just hanging on the street corner and only letting certain people by type of thing.
No, not really. Just normal kids, growing up in the East End, but it was just because we're from the East End, we had a lot in common. We had the same sort of musical tastes and stuff, and our families, dads and that worked at the docks, and we were quite a close community.
Now, when you guys broke up and then you got back together, you formed the Baseball Boys. Now, that was a great idea because then you got signed. So what happened between the time Sirius B broke up and then the Baseball Boys reemerged? You guys still stayed together as friends, but what were you doing in between that time?
Well, I mean, after Sirius B, as I said before, I was just doing playing in pubs, and I was playing. We were playing sort of separate bands, and then I got wind that Alan said that John had been writing these songs, just on a portable studio in his flat. And he said, would you like? He said, would you like to sort of do some recordings and play some bass? And then it sort of grew from there, and then we had this sort of sound, and it was like, oh, we'll call ourselves the Baseball Boys. The Baseball Boys came about as the film The Warriors. There was a street gang called the Baseball Boys. So the sport thing wasn't really the intention of the name. And when we got signed, we was told that you can't use a name called the Baseball Boys. How about calling yourself the Outfield? Because there's three people in the outfield part of the baseball pitch, and it made sense that we were a three-piece band. So that's how we got the name The Outfield.
You had also briefly mentioned the Marquee Club, which is totally famous in West London. The Rolling Stones had their first live performance there in 1962. Def Leppard played their first show there during their Pyromania tour. And that's kind of like our Troubadour and Whiskey A Go-Go here in the States. But then the Outfield plays the Marquee Club. So, Tony, what was so special about the Outfield playing at the Marquee Club?
Well, the Marquee Club was like all the big names played there. So it's where I met my wife in 1984 in February. And we were supporting a band called Stray, and we just got on there and just did our thing. I mean, there was people like Lemmy from Motorhead would be like sitting at the bar watching. It was just a small venue, but a lot of big names would die and pay to play at that place because it was quite a prestigious venue.
Right.
A lot of record company people would go there, and but a lot of people got signed from seeing people play there, like the Jam as well, and bands like Thin Lizzy, and all come through the ranks and through those. More
importantly, though, you met your wife there, so tell us about that.
Yeah, we met in the Marquee Club, and I remember John get up to the mic saying, "We're the Baseball Boys, cop this," and after the show. I got talking to her, and we met afterwards, and we're still married, and after all these years, so it's quite a special place for us, in Wardour Street in London. It's not there anymore. It's a wine bar now. Oh,
but you still get to at least go back there and just kind of reminisce a little bit.
Yeah. We still go back there and eat there. We love the West End of London, because we're born Londoners. It's our hometown, so we always go back there, at least a couple of times a month.
But that had to be kind of hard. You met your wife, and then you end up going on tour. So how did that relationship stay together, really?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough, but we got our break, and first of all, it was Steve Roboski had signed the Beastie Boys. He wanted to sign us for an EMI. And our manager at the time said, just wait 6 months because he's going to go to CBS. I'd like you to get signed to CBS. So that 6 months seemed like 6 years waiting.
I'm sure.
Then we got signed, and it was tough, for that first year being away from home and that.
Because then, you get signed in 84, your album Play Deep, that's released in 85. I mean, you guys really did blow up at that time. You went triple platinum, you were in the top 10. The single Your Love peaked at number 6. John wrote the song Your Love. So tell us about Josie. Is there really a Josie?
No, it's a fictitious name, isn't it? She doesn't exist. It was just the song was written in John's flat, which you call an apartment, and it was written in about 20 minutes.
Come on.
Still got the original lyric.
Really?
Still got the original lyric sheet, yeah. And I sat on his little combo amp, and he shouted down the corridor, "Write this down. Josie's on a vacation far away. Yeah, come around, talk it over." And he was just chugging on the guitar, down, 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 down. And the end of it, we said, "Oh, that's a good little pop song." And then we had a local studio in Scarf, and we did a demo of it the next day. And we just held down day jobs, and when we finished work, we just go around to the studio and just record as much stuff as we could into the late hours. We were pretty focused.
Yeah, but you were working.
We knew we were going to get somewhere.
Nice. So what were you doing during the day?
I was in print doing like an IBM operator.
Oh wow!
On keyboard stuff, yeah. So, and I was always taught by my parents, you got to learn a trade. So I went into the print because I knew you can't just people now that just decide, well, I'm going to be a professional musician. It's a tough business to try and make a living because if you don't know the right people or you haven't got the talent or you're not in the right place at the right time, as well as with actors as well. It's a hard thing to try and just do for a living, So you have to have even Muhammad Ali said he would make sure his father made sure he had a trade behind him before he took out professional boxing, something to fall back on. So that was built in us, But then we got signed to CBS, and then we packed in our jobs, and then it was it. It was the professional musician. People starting out now, it's very different now.
Right. With
a social network and stuff, we didn't have the internet then. If you sold physical vinyl albums, that was it. But now it's all streaming, and
you're doing that. You're streaming and everything, but. So, you had it, you all had a trade. You guys seemed really down to earth during that whole ride too. You really, really did. But now you said you had to know people and you had to, really be good. So do you think it was a combination of everything is the reason why you guys got to where you did?
Yeah, I mean, it was a gradual thing. It didn't happen overnight. And when we see like these shows like X Factor and things like, when people go on there or The Voice and people think, oh, I've waited all my life to do this. And they're like 16, 17 years old.
Right.
And they're just kids, and you've got to, people say, well, what's the key to success? It's just being focused and just rehearsing all the time and just believing in yourself. Not above all, being patient as well. Because things don't happen straight away. And that's why, our success just took a long time to lock in. It didn't happen overnight. And we've always had that sort of, I remember me and John going around to rental companies before Baseball Boys and Series B. And everyone said, no, it's not for us, But John was very determined. He was very focused. We were we believed in what we were doing.
Right.
We knew we'd get somewhere. So anyone that takes the first no and just gives up shouldn't do that. They've got to believe in yourself.
That's great advice because it is. It's such a different time that we live in now than when you guys were coming up into, the music industry because it's a now, I want it now generation.
Yeah.
And you guys really did have to work super hard for it and get recognized and get noticed.
But technology now is fantastic because I can send to my rental company, I can send them separate tracks over the internet and they can mix it and, then I've got, at the end of the day, I've got an album mixed, and it's just amazing, whereas then you had to make master tapes, analog tapes and then have them flown over and
splicing,
almost
and
almost like Victorian times, you know, when you think compared to now.
right. There's no peddling records to, record producers now. You don't have to do that. It's a lot different.
No. Yeah, you can make a record in your own bedroom now, which is quite scary.
Scary and kind of good,
Yeah.
Now, Josie and Your Love, what do you think makes that song so timeless? Because it's in movies, on TV. I mean, it's just, you guys are getting, that song gets streamed every single day. So what do you think about that song is what made it so recognizable so many years later?
I don't know. I mean, when you sit down and write a song, you never think it's going to be still popular 30 years later. But we're lucky that we had that sort of, I suppose that John had that gift of having an evergreen songwriting skill, the sound that we made. Just some songs just stand the test of time. It's usually the ones that are really, really simple that get written very quickly.
Yeah, like 20 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah. That's the ones that normally work, because if you sit down and try and you don't sit down and try and make a hit record, it either happens or it doesn't. It's just I think sometimes simplicity is the best. It's not just the idea; it's just the way it's done as well.
Right.
Combination of how it's played and the tones and everything. It's just without getting too intricate.
Now, you guys toured with Jefferson Airplane, Journey, David Bowie. What happened when you first started going on the road with these humongous acts? How did you, what went through your mind at that time?
We've always stayed grounded, though. I mean, every big, even big band. We even remember doing shows at Journey with Steve Perry, and Steve Perry, he would be dancing in the wings during our set. And I'd look at John, and we'd look like, that's Steve Perry dancing to our songs. We couldn't believe it. You keep your feet on the ground. You think, oh, these people are these huge icons. They're just like us. They're just humans. They're no different to us. We're all, musicians shouldn't set themselves apart from other people. We're all the same.
Right, but you guys had you had great heads on your shoulders at that time as well. And from what I understand, John was really big on, you guys weren't, into drugs and alcohol. So that was a big part of your persona as well, correct?
Well, the odd beer would pass the lips, but we're not drugs, nothing like that. No,
right.
It's not really part of our culture.
Well, that's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah.
That may be what helped to keep you so grounded, because you kind of were soaking everything in and just enjoying the ride.
Yeah, because it's a whole different experience. We were in the USA for the first time. It was just this huge country. What really hit home to us was that we were flying from one part of the country to the other, and we was in the sky for 8 hours. Going from Portland to one end of the country to the other, and it was like weird. It was just such a big country, and it's amazing. I think England goes into Texas 7 or 8 times, I think.
Wow. So you were on the road. You guys were touring like crazy. How about, you must have a crazy fan story.
A crazy fan story?
Yeah. Someone who showed up backstage or in a hotel or something.
I mean, Jeff Bronski was, sadly he's not with us anymore. He was just such an absolute, mega fan. And he made these plaques up for us. And, he just followed us everywhere. Absolutely, if you'd cut his arm, it'd say Outfield on it. He had Outfield tattoos. And, there's a lot of people even with registration plates with, Outfield. They're just so, Outfield mad.
So your next album after Play Deep, Bangin' comes out, Since You've Been Gone, and No Surrender on there. It goes gold. 1988 comes. Your third album, Voices of Babylon, comes out. Then Alan quits. Now, did you guys see that coming at all? And was it hard to move forward after that because you were so close?
I think Alan got a bit sort of taken back by the technology, because we were just doing in the late 80s. There was we were getting into doing computerized drums and triggering. And Alan was very much old school. He just liked the kit.
Yep.
and he didn't like where it was going because we wanted to try just new things, and he wasn't very happy. So in '89, he just had enough. Didn't like being away from his family too much, and just sort of split. We didn't see it coming, but we had to get someone else in for the Voices of Babylon tour. So that was quite tough.
Yeah.
But we found someone. But sadly that was the case at that point, because it was just technology moving on. We just wanted to move with it.
Right.
It was still like real drums, but we just wanted to see what's this big thing about the computerized drums. Let's have a look, because now you got I've got electronic kit in my music room, and it's a rolling kit, and it's pretty good because it triggers off proper real drums, and I like drums as well. But if you play drums in a house, you're going to get neighbors complaining.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, and it's always good to be able to adapt to new things, especially, that your music climate was changing, grunge was coming in, and you did release 7 more albums after that third. You headed back to East London. You were starting to play some smaller venues, but you guys weren't as popular in England as you were here in the U.S. Why do you think that was? And really, how did that happen? Because you were from there.
Not a bad problem, though, was it? We had an American manager who was just focused on the US. He wasn't bothered about Europe or UK. That's how it was. It wasn't at the time. It just wasn't like current. I think it took like 20 years for a Journey record to be played here.
Really?
Yeah, Journey I think it just takes a film or something like that, or you get a song like "Don't Stop Believing." Oh, who's that song? It's Journey, but
wow,
it took ages and years before the UK would take notice of Steve Perry as a singer, whereas we've loved Steve Perry since the mid '80s,
right,
early '80s,
right. But was it odd for you?
It's just a different scene here. The music scene is just different here. It's just. With the US, it's just a bit more. You've got a lot more stations, a lot more, and the rock venues are bigger, and it's just more opportunity to get your own music out there. It's quite condensed here.
Yeah, you just wouldn't think that. You know what I mean? It's just because you were humongous here, and then to go back and play venues that you're not playing to as many people, it just had to be strange.
Well, we played in Germany. We played at Mannheim, which is an army base venue, and that was always packed out because there's American soldiers there. Love the Outfield.
Right.
In Germany we did okay. In Holland we did okay. But UK just I don't know. Prior to us getting signed, we did a tour of Grand Slam, which is a band that Phil Lynott had after Thin Lizzy. And we did a few dates of him, and then for me, Phil Lynott is just a legend.
Yeah.
And that was great doing that tour, going around doing the colleges. But apart from that, that's all we did in England. We just, for 2 years, we just played in old pubs and bars and rock clubs. But it wasn't until we got recognised as America, it was just, that was it. That was our market. So we got offers to play in South America, Trinidad, Panama, Costa Rica,
wow,
Peru.
Oh my gosh! So
it's not just US. We've been playing other countries, but UK is just not been the most popular.
Yeah. Well, 1999 comes along, and then you released your album Extra Innings. You went back on the road after being off it here for a while. Fans were extremely happy to see you back out there, but you seemed kind of surprised.
Yeah, because a long layoff like that, you don't think you're going to go back and do as well. You mentally you're prepared to start from the beginning with an old, with a small van and go around and just start building it again. Pretty much like I'm doing now, my own solo album. I don't think that I'm just going to fill out venues everywhere. I just keep my, as we've always done, just keep your feet on the ground and let's just play a gig and see what happens.
People are loving you, though, Tony. They love you. I mean, and you just seem like you go out there, you're having such a great time.
Yeah, it's the best. Yeah, it's the best job in the world. It definitely is. To play in live, you can't explain to people what it feels like. You can't pay for that. It's the best. It's the best experience I could ever explain. Really, it's just that feeling when people, you go on and then you sing that song and your love just gets, everyone goes nuts over that song. And I think that song was written in Campbell Road in a flat in East London. We didn't have any money.
Wow.
And it was written in 20 minutes. And here we are, like, I look up and I think, John, thank you.
Right. And talking about, going back to John in 2014, you lost your dear friend, and I'm so sorry for that. And you had a tough time. So what happened during that time? Did you think you would never go back to music?
No, I didn't even want to play music, let alone, pick up a guitar. For the first year, it was very, very hard. I just couldn't. I just didn't know what to do. And then me and my wife went out for a drink one night, went out for a meal, and she said, why don't you just get back to doing what you do best, So I put some backing tracks together in my studio, and I just didn't have any sort of lyrics. I'm not very good with words. Like John would fall out of bed writing a song, but I find it really hard putting words together. I had a song that it was like, I'm going out tonight looking for a fight. And my wife said, you don't want to put that in the song, as your comeback song, because people can think, well, you're not in the best frame of mind. And then she had some words, and I've got some songs, some words here. How about this? And start putting some verses together. And the first 2 or 3 backing tracks, these words that Carol wrote, fitted like a glove. I couldn't believe it. Like Here and Now and Loving You, that's from the album as well. And 3 or 4 just fell into place, and it just seemed to work. And it was just after about a year, it was fully done. I had like 12 songs completed.
Wow.
It was such an easy way of putting songs together.
And that's thanks to your wife, though. She pushed you.
Yeah, she did. It's encouraged me, and these songs are obviously sort of making a connection. To get a record deal at this day and age is pretty hard.
Right.
It really is hard. So even us as the Outfield, for years we were struggling to find the deal that we wanted. But I was very lucky.
Well, one of your new songs, Here and Now, you say it's not about the where and when. It's all about a brand new start. It's not about the there and then. It's all about the here and now. And it looks like you're totally loving the here and now. And I just want to say thank you, because this song is completely stuck in my head now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I wanted this song to be the first single, but I trust my record company's judgment. And Into the Light is a great song as well, and it's a good way of getting your toe in the water and all that sort of stuff. But I do love Here and Now. It's got that sort of that earworm song.
It does. It's very catchy. It's very, very catchy, and I love it. I really, really do. And I wish you the best on that. But before we wrap up, I just have a silly question for you. So I kind of notice everything. I'm just one of those types of people I observe, right? Now, the head of your guitar is missing. And it always was missing. You never had a guitar with a head on it in the videos. You don't have it now, but everybody else has one. So what was the deal with that?
Well, long scale basses, to be honest, Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones?
Yes.
Do you remember watching him footage of him, and he's got the guitar upright like that?
Okay.
Do you if you ever see Rolling Stones videos, you'll see Bill Wyman. He has the guitar upwards.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in them days, you had long scale basses. You didn't have short scale bass. So I think it was a Fender Mustang bass, but the bass he liked playing was long scale. But his arms were too short to reach, like for the F.
Okay.
Which is the first fret.
Yep.
And basically, all the long scale basses I had a Fender Jazz, Fender Precision, Rickenbacker. They were great guitars, but I found it quite a stretch for the first fret. And I bought a Steinberger. I quite like Steinberger in Los Angeles, but it didn't have a good enough body on it. But there was someone called Rob Green who makes status basses in England, made this guitar. So I fell in love with it, and I've used it ever since. It's just got the right size neck for it, and it's it's got an amazing sound. And they're the basses I always use.
And it works for you, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Tony, you're really busy. You're coming back to the U.S. for a Rock Pack show with Asia's John Payne, Steve Augeri from Journey, and Lou Gramm from Foreigner. These guys I love them so much. Now, when I go ahead, though, and I look back at videos from the 80s and I'm singing your songs, they all just make me happy. Now, do you ever sit back and listen to the songs that you guys did together? And if you do, what is your biggest takeaway from the entire journey that you all had together?
I think that the biggest memory for me is that we played in the Port of Spain in Trinidad, which is the Queen's cricket ground, which holds about, when it's full with everyone on the field and everyone in the seats, it's about 45,000 people.
Wow. And
we played there in 1998. And I remember seeing all the people and still the steam coming up from their bodies. That was, for me, it was like the best experience. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I think I played with Air Supply, and it was great. And Survivor.
Jeez, what a road you've had, really. Yeah,
it was. That was like probably the best experience. It's a really big crowd. I see that most of Trinidad then at that time were into Rammstein and Outfield, and it heard in these clubs playing remixes of Rammstein and Outfield mixes, which is bizarre. Your Love mixed with Do Heist or something like that.
Yeah.
Heavy riffs, and I love Rammstein.
And they're mashups now, actually. They do mashups of all these songs.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And Tony, all the best on your new album, Out of the Darkness, your upcoming shows, and really, really all of the love to you. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thanks, Kiki. Bye-bye.